Now we have over 30,000 customers
Oh
a
my
month.
gosh.
I knew what doubling the company would look like, and really came back with a vision of 10xing the company, right? And so when things are bad, that's the time to take a breath, look at what you're trying to do, and really, if you've got a business that you believe in, you're passionate about, that's the time to double down.
Building a company is one thing, but building a company that people want to continue to work at, well, that's a whole other thing entirely. Not only did my guest today do that, but he also built an industry that didn't even exist before. Gabe Abshire is the CEO and founder of Move Concierge, and welcome. It's so great to see you. Let's turn this around today. I'm doing the interviewing.
I know, I've never been in this seat, so it's really fun to be in this seat and be interviewed.
Okay, so it was 16 years ago that I got to know you for the very first time. Wow, have you done great things since then. But I want to start with a very simple question. When I sat down, I said, remind me again, is it Move Concierge or Move Concierge? How do you say it?
I just say concierge with a little bit of a Texas accent, but it's funny. That's one of the things that people say. How do you say it? Well, you can say it however you want.
Concierge. Right? Okay. And for folks who aren't familiar with your business, what exactly is it, and how did you get started? It's a great story.
Well, so I always start this answering this answer with a question. So, when was the last time you moved? Do you remember last time you moved? It's probably been a while, right?
I bet you get the same reaction from people. They're always, it was awful.
Yeah, I don't want to think about it. But
yeah.
The question I asked is simple. It's like, what was your experience like setting up your home services and utilities last time you moved? And just shut up.
Oh,
right?
it's a disaster because you have to call all these different services, and it's a nightmare for most people. And you're in the middle of a move, so it's really difficult.
One of the top 5 most stressful things you do in your life, right? Mm-hmm. And you have a guy for everything. You got a realtor, you got a mortgage guy, you got an insurance, title, all these people, professionals that help you. But as soon as you sign on those docs, you're on your own, right? So we come in and we really help you make those selections when you're moving into a new home and make that process as easy as possible. We take that stress completely off your plate.
You know, the thing I'm curious about, a lot of people see something and they think, I could start a company to do that. But I think it's like 90% of startups don't succeed. I think it's an unbelievable figure. Why did you succeed, do you think?
Easy answer is people, right? Easy answer, 100%. That's the easiest answer is people. We've got great people in the company. I surround myself with great people that are better and smarter and think differently than me. But it's been a long journey. It's 16 years.
Okay, so 16 years. Talk about, for people who may be watching and they're like, I want to do that, but it's so hard. Talk about, because this didn't happen overnight. Talk about the early grind.
Yeah, so the idea of formerly Utility Concierge, we just changed our name about a year ago to Move Concierge, but I had a satellite installation company. We were doing installs for Dish Network and DirecTV in about 3 or 4 different states. And 2009 happened and that industry kind of slowed down, and they really looked and said, listen, we're only going to give the jobs to people that are having a great completion rate. So we looked at our numbers, we had a good completion rate, but what we found out is that the people we weren't getting installed were the people that were moving. We would get to their house, no TV, still on the moving truck. Oh, forgot to set up the electricity. And so that's kind of when the light bulb moment went off in early 2009, and that's how it was started,
And so how did you go, though, from the light bulb moment that went off to, like I said, there's a lot of people who look at something and say, there's a need there. Wow, I think I'll start that business, but they don't succeed. How did you go from that to really having a solid company? Let's just take that part first.
Yeah, so in 2009, when I shifted and started Utility Concierge, we started with a couple of principles. Number one, we're going to be a choice-based model. We're giving the customer the power of choice, right? We're going to go, and then second, we're going to go to real estate professionals that already have the customer and offer our service to them. And then the last part, and this is really, I think, what makes us unique, is we really want to dive into the experience, right? People are moving, it's stressful. We want to add anything to their plate. So very transparent communication, right? We want to make it easy. We tell our people all the time, tell your customer this. Tell them, listen, is it okay if I talk to you like you're my best friend and recommend things I'd recommend to my mother? right? Because those walls go down and we can get through the call in under 30 minutes, right? And so I started with that, started with culture was really important. We had core values before we even started, so we had a good foundation. But I got to tell you, it took probably really 2-3 years to really figure it out. I think I bought donuts or lunch for every realtor in DFW. So if y'all are watching, you're welcome. Thank you. And really just, we had to convince two people. We had to convince the realtor to give us their clients, right? Number one is very hard. I'm sure if you know, realtors are very protective, right? And then we had to convince our providers to build really an industry around us, right? So if you think of the telcos, the cable companies, security companies, we weren't door to door. We weren't an inbound service. We're outbound. And so it was a completely different deal. And so that took quite a while to figure that out.
So most people know that everybody says you should follow your passion when you're starting a company, that is what will help make you successful. I can speak to the difficulty of having a company because I have my own company. And I know that sometimes you can get really tired and you can get really worn out. But the thing that will keep you going is that feedback from someone who you have genuinely helped. In my case, it might be a woman who's 55 who says, "You inspire me, Jane, to keep going, to keep doing things." So what about you? Have you had a customer, or I know you have, what have you heard from customers that give you the energy to keep going on difficult days?
Yeah, so I think purpose and passion is something that personally I kind of struggle with to find personally. But if I really look at the company and what we do, it's really the reviews we get from the customer, the feedback we get from the customers. Very early on, that was part of our process. We want to make sure we're getting feedback from the customers for a couple of reasons, right? We want to improve. We want to make the experience better. But remember, we're getting these referrals from real estate professionals. And so we want to give them back great referrals, great feedback from the realtor. And so that really, we have over 20,000 plus 5-star reviews. That's really the core of our business. That customer satisfaction score sits right next to all of our goals. It sits right next to our revenue goal, all of our growth goals. It's right there. I can tell you what it is today. It's 4.93 out of 5. We look at it every day. And so I think that's what gives me the energy to keep on going, but all that information is pushed down to our people and they see that. And I think that in return gives them the energy to keep going.
Do you personally read the reviews?
I do. I don't read all of them. We've since started, again, every person gets an opportunity to review. So every Friday we get an email that comes out with kind of all the top reviews. And it's amazing because it's not, oh, they were great. It was, oh my God, can Mimi be my best friend? She was so great. I was on a move from California with my husband and we were moving. I got 3 kids and we're both going to the job. We have to get started and I walk in my house and everything is done. And so we talk about mind-blowing customer experience. That's one of our core values. Service is expected and you don't see service in our reviews. You see an experience, you see an emotional connection. So we see them a lot. We thrive them, we celebrate them, and it's definitely something that keeps us going.
So you know that you're making a difference in people's lives.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I think that people, they think about having to set their utilities up, and it's like, oh my God, I'm not looking forward to it.
No, it's a moment of dread.
It's a nightmare, right? And most people wait till the last minute. And one of the things that we do very unique is like we want to talk to you 2 to 3 weeks before you close to say, hey, look, we got you. We got you, take that off your plate, and we start the process then. And so it's been a core of our business from day one.
So you started as founder, now you're CEO. What's the big difference for you in being founder and CEO?
Yeah, so I think the names are, a founder CEO. So I started the business. A lot of CEOs are brought in to run the business. And so I founded in 2009. I've been CEO since the get-go, so I think it's just kind of a naming thing. But I think when you look at it and when we talk to our customers and our partners, I think it's important to know that the founder is still involved in the business. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A lot of companies, as they grow, lose their culture, sort of. You shook your head like, yeah, you're familiar with that? Yeah. So talk to me about that. How do you keep that from happening?
It's one of our core values. Building a positive culture. And I talk with every single one of the new groups that come in and I sit down and we have a very candid conversation about culture. And what I say about that is like, listen, that's y'all's job. I started the company, we're growing the company, but I can't be everywhere at any time. It is y'all's job to not only build, but protect our culture, right? And the way we define building a positive culture is really simple. We know that, we say it like this, like we know that life happens. We know that life is going to happen outside of this, but know that you have a team and a family that you can come into, and we're going to help you through whatever comes your way.
Do you find people are even more hungry for that today than they were, say, 5, 8, 10 years ago?
I think so, especially if you look kind of from the, pivoting from work from home and things like that. But every year I sit down with our employees on their year anniversary. And I can't tell you most of those conversations go back to culture. They're like, I can't believe that that we're growing at this pace and the culture's still here and it's such a great place to work. And for me, I talk about it a lot. It's probably the thing I'm most proud about, to be 100% honest with you. But I talk about it a lot. It just doesn't make any other sense not to have a good culture, right? We're dealing with folks that are moving, they're stressed out. All of our business comes from real estate professionals, and we're on the phone. So why would you not want that person to be unbelievably happy because it's going to show through on the phone? So I'm super proud of it. It's something that we've grown and our people continue to build it. But I just don't know any other way. Like, why would you want to work for a company that doesn't treat you good?
And I'm sure that you've thought of this in the age of automation and AI, that personal interaction, both you with your employee and your employee with the customer, becomes increasingly important, an increasingly important touch point. Can you talk about that for other people who may be in businesses and are trying to integrate AI?
Yeah, so we're on the forefront of that. It's very important to what we're doing. But if I just step back from that and look at our people, there's folks that have been in this industry that tried to build technology to do this. But we've had 16 years of building a great company filled with amazing people. And so the way that I look at technology and AI is that that's always going to be the core of our business, right? Because some people want to do it on their own, but it's, if you're going into a house, you may have 12, 14 different options and selections to make, and it's overwhelming, right?
Yeah, overwhelming is a good word to describe it.
Absolutely. And you get it wrong and you end up wasting time and money.
Right.
And so that's always going to be the core of our business, because I think that's what really makes us different is, again, it goes back to that experience, right? We're not going to give you a great customer service. We're going to give you an experience, an emotional connection that you're going to remember. And so the way I look at technology and AI is that we're going to put that on top of our already amazing people, right? We're going to make them more efficient. And we're going to give the customer choice. That's one of our core things, is that we give the customer power of choice. So you can pick whatever electricity provider, internet, TV, security provider you want. We just want to make sure that you get the right provider that fits your needs. And so when we look at how people interact with us, we have a great people company, but I guarantee you today we're losing out on people because they don't want to talk to somebody. COVID did that. Technology does that. So we're losing a good chunk because they don't want to talk to folks. So we're going to build a platform that folks can do that on their own, right? And they can go on. Today, if you have to go through this horrible experience on your own, we say it's a couple of half days to figure it out. If you get to talk to one of our world-class concierges, we'll have it done in under 30 minutes, right? And when the platform's built, we'll have that done in under 10 minutes. Right? And so if you're the type of person who want to knock that out and do it all online, awesome. We're going to give you a great platform for it. But at any time, if you want to opt out, you've got a world-class concierge waiting for you. And I think that's the difference. We're building technology on top of our people instead of the other way around. Think about some of the big tech companies and you have a customer service issue. Good luck.
And I frequently find that I'm using the tech, but I need human help. I'm like, can't I just talk to a person here somewhere? Because I don't understand a lot of the tech, and and it's inefficient. It's an inefficient use of my time.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the lunches that you have. What are some of the other things that you make happen with your employees to keep that culture?
So one, we have a culture committee that's a representative from every department, every lane in the company, and we meet twice a month, and we talk about, what's going on with the culture. We plan events. We have probably 4 major events a year that we bring not only the concierge and the team members into, but we bring their families into it once a year, right? Because I think it's important, we're getting to have this employee for 8 to 10 hours a day, right? And that's a sacrifice for them. And so we want to bring their family into that and really integrate their family into that. So we have a family event once a year. We do have some remote employees from COVID. We fly those folks in twice a year, and we have a quarterly kickoff where we kind of share our wins for the past quarter and then tell everybody where we're going for the next quarter. And really, I tell you, culture is something that when I say that you should feel, right? That you should feel when you walk into a place. And that's one of the, like I said, when I sit down with the new folks, I ask them, we ask a funny question, what's the weirdest thing about you, to kind of open up the heart and mind a little bit. But then we also why are you here? Like, what's the why? Why are you here? And I tell you, 9 times out of 10, it's because I could feel the culture. I could feel what kind of place this was during my interview or during the phone call, and that's why I'm here.
So I want to talk a little bit about some of the highs and then some of the humbling moments that any founder, any CEO is going to have. And I'm sure that there's a whole list of them. But if you had to look at, let's say, first of all, mistakes you made during rapid growth, because you have had periods of rapid growth, what are things that people who are watching could learn from? Yeah,
it's fun to look back at that. We just celebrated our 16-year anniversary, and probably 12 years ago, I remember, I think I could make this work because I got a home inspection company to give us all their customers, and it was 150 customers a month. And I'm like, I got it. This is going to be awesome. Now we have over 30,000 customers a month.
Oh my gosh.
Right? So if you look,
that's
150
that's
to
growth.
30,000
That's
over
growth.
the last 16 years, it's crazy.
What's one thing that you took away from it and you were like, this is something I need to incorporate the next time I make this kind of move?
Yeah, I think that hiring the people, right? It goes back to people and really taking our time to hire the right people. Because, when we experienced rapid growth during COVID.
And so you're looking for a lot of people all of a sudden.
Yes, and we're looking for a lot of folks, and we really kind of looked at, it was probably kind of 2000, kind of 2 years into COVID, and we were able to find a lot of people. But one thing we missed was the churn, right? So we weren't keeping them, we weren't retaining them. And so, and we thought we had a good handle on it, but it really was because they were remote and they didn't have that community, right?
Interesting.
And they didn't, they would come out of the gate really, really good, but then they'd get into their 3rd or 4th month and then they would churn out. And it's because we didn't have that attention and that detail, because we're just trying to hire as quick as we can. And as protective as we are to let people on the team, we still, I think, missed on that. And I think we were seeing some of the success, but we weren't looking at that little number of churn and the reason why folks were churning. So
what I hear you saying sort of is, no matter what your business structure is, you've got to have that community one way or the other in order to keep those employees, for people to feel a part of the company.
Yeah, it's again, it goes back to culture. I think, we could label this the culture talk, but really, that's the core of what we do. And look, we're majority of our folks are on the phone. It's a tough job, right? It's a tough job to call hundreds of people a day and get no's and not let that affect
that is
the call, or you get a great call and then not let that affect the next call. And so just having those people around you so you can hear people, so you can learn from them. And then really, something really that we've implemented in the last 6 months is we've gotten back from, we grew to, we had managers managing, 15 to 20 people, and we really shrunk that and put people into smaller pods. So 5 to 6 people. We've got a concierge that's on the phone, doing the work, managing those people, and it really gets back to one of our other core values of owning it, and really being accountable, right? Being accountable for your inputs and your outputs. And so bringing folks back to that small accountability group, honestly, has had really great, we've seen great success over the last 6 months with that.
You talk about leading with humility and vulnerability. Can you talk about what that looks like in real life?
Yeah. I think that's just being myself, right? I think as being in this role and putting great people around me and seeing the business grow, there's an interesting side to that, right? Everybody wants a self-managing business, but when you get on the other side of that and you've got growth and things are happening without you being involved in it, there's an interesting part of that. That other side of that, having that self-managing business. And look, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a founder. My weird thing about me is that I've never had a real job. came out of college, started selling satellites. I've never had a 9-to-5 job ever in my life. And so I don't know any other way. So I just have to be myself. And I think the great thing about, again, our people in our company is that I get to be myself, right? People understand who I am. I'm very vulnerable. I'm very open, very transparent. And so I think, again, there's no other way to do it. Like, I can't be fake to my own people, right?
So how does being yourself help as an entrepreneur? What are the benefits as an entrepreneur of being yourself?
You know, I think one of the books that I've read that really changed my life probably 10, 12 years ago was called Traction. And it's an operating system to how entrepreneurs should run their business. But the thing that really stuck out for me is that people have unique abilities, right? There's things that bring you energy, and there's things that suck energy out of you, right? So it's kind of another way of saying, you know, your strengths and your weaknesses. So I'm very open and honest about my weaknesses, right? If it's a weakness, I don't want to do it, right? That's going to suck energy out of me. And to look at it another way, if you're an entrepreneur, you're in the, you know, and I think we're in this culture of this grind mentality. You've got to grind, you've got to do it all yourself. That's wrong, right? Because if you're doing something you suck at, you're robbing joy from somebody else that could be doing that job, right? And so really just understanding what your unique ability is and things that give you energy and things that don't give you energy, and don't try to do that, right? Stay in your happy place, stay in your unique ability, and then transferring that to the employees, right? When we bring people on, we do something called a culture index, and it tells us who they are and who they're trying to be. And we really try to keep them in that unique ability, because again, you want happy employees. You want to force them to do something that's not in their wheelhouse, that's not part of them.
I want to move to the future in just a minute, but before we move to that, I'm fascinated by just people's personal habits, people's personal things that they stick to, that they feel like have helped them, because I think it can be inspirational for other people. Do you have 2 or 3 things that you have to do personally? I mean, I'm talking about, like, I have to walk every day. Yeah. I have to. I mean, I have to get my exercise, or I just feel sluggish. Are there personal habits that you have that you think contribute to your success?
Yeah, I think that's an evolving thing. And you know, I think about this when, you know, you look at social media, and a lot of people talk about that, right? Mm-hmm. And it's good inspiration, but then you're like, man, I'm not getting up at 5 in the morning. I'm sorry, Marky Mark, 4:30 in the morning, and working out and doing all this stuff by 8 a.m. I'm like, what am I doing? Mm-hmm. And so I think I can share what I do, but I think it's really important for people to know that it's what you do, and again, what brings you energy, and don't compare yourself to other people.
But what brings you energy? What works for you?
For me, it's quiet time in the morning. So, you know, I've got my house set up where I can sit on the patio, have a cup of coffee, read some affirmations. I like have an outdoor shower and a cold plunge, and just some quiet time in the morning. It doesn't have to be a lot. It's 30 minutes before the kids get up or when they go to school, but that's probably my thing, is just being able to start the day calmly, right? And not grab your phone and not pick it up. And there's a ton of things you can do. And it seems like I'd say one unique thing about me is I don't like doing the same thing every day. And so I try different things, but that's kind of been the one thing that's kind of steady, is just kind of chill out in the morning, have a little double espresso, and relax and calm your mind before the day starts.
I take a little bit more than a half hour, but
yeah.
I have to read everything that's going on in the world, or I can't get started on my day. I have to know everything that's going on. I don't watch any news. I don't do anything, because there's not great things in the news, but it's overwhelming.
You being in your past, you know, your newscasting experience, that's just a habit. It's good.
So let's talk about the future. There's a lot of uncertainty in the future for almost everybody right now in business. There are so many things that are possible and may be great, and at the same time may be a little bit overwhelming. What's your general outlook here as you look forward to the next 5 years?
I think we're in the best place we could ever be, right? So really, COVID was a good time for us. We grew, people were moving, and then we had kind of 3 years of kind of flat or downturn in the real estate market. And kind of towards that end of that 3 years, I kind of went away. And this is actually something that I try to do, is really get away, right? I understand that I'm a lot if I'm at the office every day, And so work started to pick up a little bit, things started to pick up. And so I was like, listen, I need to give my team a break, right? I'm going to get away. And so I got to go to Italy with my family for 3 months. Took the kids out of school and went away and unplugged and really looked at the business, right? And came back with a very clear vision of what I wanted to do. And started executing that. And so I think as entrepreneurs also is that if you're in the business every day, it's very hard for you to zoom out and look to where you want to go. And so coming back with that clear vision, started executing that. And I think I couldn't have done it at a better time, right? We were kind of starting to pick up, and things take longer than what you think they do, right? I understand that my expectation is skewed, but it doesn't matter. It takes longer than what we expected to do. So I'm really excited about where we are. I'm excited about where the market is. I think that interest rates should be coming down. I think it should have come down a month ago, but I think it'll be coming down. And so I think we're in a great spot for the housing market to turn back up and the economy to turn back up. And I hope that it turns back up at the right pace, right? And so all those things that we put in place over the last 2 years is really going to put us in a great spot to be able to really grow over the next 5 years. I think we're in a great spot.
What do you do? Because for you, the housing market is a factor that you have to deal with. You don't have any control over it, really. How do you manage things like that might give insight to other people about how to manage things in their own business that they can't control?
Yeah, I mean, we took that time when the market was kind of flat to really double down, right? That was a message I kind of came back with from Italy. It was like, man, we have an amazing company filled with people, amazing people, great process, and we're profitable, right? Yet we're only touching, 5 million people move a year. We're touching maybe 250,000. And so we had such a huge opportunity. And so I knew what doubling the company would look like, and really came back with a vision of 10xing the company, right? And so when things are bad, that's the time to take a breath, look at what you're trying to do, and really, if you've got a business that you believe in, you're passionate about, that's the time to double down, right? Everything goes in cycles. You're going to have ups and downs, and it really depends on what you focus on. You can focus on, things are bad and things are uncertain, or you can flip the script and go, man, things are great. We're living in the best time ever, and we live in America, right? And so I think it's all about your outlook and how you look at things.
When you talk about outlook, you mentioned this word right before we sat down. How much of a role does gratitude play in your success?
Immensely, right? And this is something I really have to concentrate on, because I am that entrepreneur that's always looking to the next thing, right? We get great news, and it's literally 5 seconds, and I'm going, what's next? What's next? And so I have this saying that I've been really trying to incorporate is changing your expectation to gratitude, right? So changing that, everybody has high expectations, right? And when it's not met, when you have this high expectation, you're going to fail, right? So be in the present, be in the moment, and be grateful for what you have today, because tomorrow's not promised, right? We live in the future, and we live about how things are going, but live in today and be grateful for what you have today, because you can only learn from the past, right? You may be able to pivot in the present, but really all you can do is create the future, right? And it's really hard to create the future when you don't have gratitude.
How do you deal with regrets?
I have that question's been asked, and so the bad things that happen, they go somewhere. I don't think about them, right? So just as I think on the next thing, like people go, what was the biggest, you ask, like, what was the biggest regret? Mm-hmm. What was the biggest lesson you learned? I've learned a lot of lessons, but I don't regret much, because those lessons and those failures, we learn from them, mm-hmm. right? And so I have a weird thing about that. Like, what's the 5 worst things that happened to you? I'd have to think about that, because it just goes somewhere in my brain, And so I just try to move on from them and learn from them. You can't do anything about it. All you can do is learn from the past and move on.
So what keeps you grounded after 16 years and fired up about the future?
I don't know if I'm grounded. I'm definitely fired up about the future. Again, I think it comes back to our team. I put a great leadership team around me that understands the vision and what I'm trying to do. That was one of the vision points that I came back from Italy. Is like, I want to put a rock star leadership team around me, and I've done that. And then now we're starting to hire more and more people. So I think honestly, the people I have around me keep me grounded, and they know me really well, and they know that I can be myself, and I've got crazy ideas, and they're like, okay, if he mentions it again, then maybe we need to think about it. But I'm just fired up about the opportunity we have in front of us, and the fact that nobody knows about us. 16 years in business, and I would bet most folks don't know about us because all of our business comes from real estate professionals. So I'm really, really excited about taking what we've built over the last 16 years and bringing that to all the consumers across the country.
So before we close, tell me how we are going to see that happen. What will we see? What are we going to see in the future?
So you're going to see a lot more Move Concierge, right? We're going to be, we're about to launch a huge brand awareness campaign, and we're really going to focus on movers, right? We've worked really, really hard to get the data and understand the personas of our customers. We've got 16 years of this. So we're talking about the technology and people. We've got 16 years of experience that we're going to put into a direct consumer campaign, and we're going to go after those movers because it's about to turn up, right? When rates come down a little bit, I think fourth quarter and next year is going to be really, really good, and we're going to be in a great spot to help as many people as we can.
Thank you so much for joining me and for letting me interview you.
Well,
this was
thank
fun.
you. This has been very unique. I talked a lot more on this side. On the interview side, you don't talk as much. So, but it's been really fun. It's been great full circle 16 years ago when we sat down.
Congratulations.
Well, congratulations you too. Thanks for being here.